evening, I'm Mai Rodriguez. Today marks the end of the Lenten season for Catholics. Lent began on Ash Wednesday on February 14th, and for a week beginning on Palm Sunday, Christians gathered to pray, went on a pilgrimage, visited different churches, and remembered Christ's passion and crucifixion, some through extreme means. Many went home to the provinces or traveled abroad on vacation. All week, police and military forces stayed on alert. Today, Easter Sunday, is celebrated. This marks Jesus Christ's resurrection. Thousands of passengers are returning home after the Holy Week break. Let's check the traffic situation on major roads. Makoy Papioco joins us live from the MMDA Metro base. Hi, Makoy. What are you seeing?
Hi, Mai. MMDA says it is bracing for monster traffic tonight, and it has deployed 400 personnel in major thoroughfares here in Metro Manila. It was a breezy drive along EDSA, North Luzon Expressway, and South Luzon Expressway this afternoon, but traffic started getting heavier this evening. Now, authorities say this is still a good time for motorists to traverse the expressways as traffic remains relatively fast-moving in both N.E.W.S and SLEX. Authorities say heavier traffic is expected as the night progresses. There's a slight traffic buildup already at the southbound lane of N.E.W.S, especially when motorists approach Balintawak exit. Traffic is moderate to heavy along EDSA Balintawak, which extends all the way until Makati. Now let's go down south. Traffic is moderate to heavy along the northbound lane of Baclaran. There is heavy congestion at the service road near Baclaran Church as thousands of churchgoers attend the Easter Mass. The southbound lane of Baclaran starts getting clogged as well, with provincial buses heading south to Cavite. The southbound lane of Rojas Boulevard is also slow moving, but traffic along its northbound lane remains light to moderate. For motorists heading north, EDSA northbound also remains less congested. Traffic flow remains light to moderate. Mai.
Makoy Papioco there giving us the latest live from the MMDA Metro base. President Rodrigo Duterte calls on Filipinos to pray for the welfare and safety of the nation this Easter Sunday. The president also asked for Filipinos to, quote, pray for lasting peace in our nation so that we can all work together in harmony towards real change. He also reminded the public to make the holiday more meaningful by offering aid to those in need. The president said the faithful should remember the Christian values of humility and forgiveness. Manila Archbishop Luis Antonio Cardinal Tagle shares the real message of Easter, that is, to reflect on God's unfailing love. Our Trisha Terada has this story.
Candles light up the Manila Cathedral as churchgoers usher in the celebration of Jesus' resurrection, or Easter Sunday. Manila Archbishop Luis Antonio Cardinal Tagle leads the Easter Vigil with a series of Bible readings that, as Tagle says, shows God's faithfulness to the people despite our failures.
The more damage we inflict on creation, on humanity, on history, God does not get tired. What we break, God makes whole.
The Cardinal says Easter is about God's unfailing love, even if it cost him the life of his son, Jesus.
That's what we are celebrating. God's persistent love. God's refusal to say, tama na, ayoko na, suko na ako sa inyo. When God is at the brink of saying that, God's love surfaces.
Tagle then talks about Jesus' burial and how his enemies made sure he remained dead.
Hindi siya makakalabas sa libingan. May bato, may gwardya, ikandado pa natin. That was the brutality. He was killed, he was buried, and they wanted him to remain dead.
He likens the big stone used to cover Jesus' tomb with the burdens of the faithful.
Mga kapatid, anong bato ang inilagay mo para hindi mabuhay si Jesus? Sigurado lahat tayo may paboritong bato. And we put guards, very guarded, para hindi makalabas si Jesus.
He asks everyone to set aside greed, anger, disrespect, and pride. Tagle says these heavy stones affect everyone.
Kalungkot nga ho eh. pati sa international relations, kay daming mga bato. Isinasara ang pinto sa bawat isa.
Following his homily, Tagle baptizes and confirms 2 members of the community as part of Manila Cathedral's tradition every Easter Vigil. The Mass goers also renew their baptismal vows. And to welcome Easter Sunday, a big cheer from the crowd. Trisha Tarada, CNN Philippines.
In other news, for the first time, residents from the most affected areas in Marawi City are going home. The government says the return has been scheduled earlier, even before many residents staged a protest on Good Friday, demanding to be allowed to go back to Ground Zero. Our George Cahiles reports to us live from Iligan City. George, tell us more about this.
Well, more than 10 months since the war, residents who used to live in Ground Zero of Marawi City were given that opportunity to visit their community as early as 6 in the morning. The first of 9 batches of evacuees lined up and causing heavy traffic near Baloy Bridge. Now, the first batch is composed of around 1,200 families. They're given 3 days to check their properties and salvage their belongings. Some residents are in shock, trying to make sense of what happened to the place they used to call home. Others are disheartened, still feeling the pain and anguish over the destruction and their loss. But there are residents who are eager to go back, hoping it would give closure to the tragedy and trauma they experienced in the past months.
Hindi ko kaya. Kasi walang natira eh. Anong aasahan namin?
Kanina, kaya na may dala akong tubig, parang hindi na ako na makahinga. O sabi ko sa asawa ko, relax ka, hindi man tayo nawalan, lahat live pare-parehas. Kasi doon tayo mag-ano sa Allah kung sino may kagagawa nito. Sana biyayay ng Allah kasi wala tayong malapitan kung di Allah.
Of course, dahil first day, medyo yung iba hanggang ngayon nandun pa sa pila. But basically, masaya naman yung tao dahil at least nakita nila ang kanilang mga pamamahay before we are going to start the reconstruction of itong most affected areas.
While others were able to retrieve some of their belongings, some left with nothing. But they're optimistic that they'll be able to go back home as soon as they can to rebuild their homes. Now, more residents will be allowed to enter the area in the next few weeks. But Mayor Gandamra says it may take at least 3 more years before his constituents from the most affected areas of Marawi may be able to return and rebuild their homes. That's after the government finishes the reconstruction and rebuilding of major infrastructures and roads within Marawi City. Mai.
George, they've been wanting to go home and rebuild for months. But of course, Ground Zero used to be the main battle area. Are there any concerns about the safety of visiting residents?
Well, my authorities warned those visiting evacuees that there might be some unexploded ordnance and IEDs in the area. According to Colonel Bronner, they were able to sweep the areas thrice, and they can assure that 80 to 90% of the main battle area, what used to be the main battle area, is already clear. But he's saying that he cannot fully assure the residents that they're already in the safe place. That's why he's encouraging the people to report in case that they find some UXOs as well as IEDs to report immediately to authorities and never touch those things, as those UXOs and IEDs are highly dangerous.
George Cahiles reporting live from Iligan City. Pope Francis delivered his traditional apostolic blessing, or Urbi et Orbi, from the Vatican. The Urbi et Orbi is the Pope's blessing and message given twice a year, and he delivered this right after celebrating Easter Sunday Mass. He proclaimed Jesus Christ's resurrection is the true hope of the world, and he delivered his special Easter message before tens of thousands gathered in St. Peter's Square. He prayed for the victims of the drug trade, human trafficking, and slavery in any form. And he also prayed for fruits of reconciliation for the Holy Land, and prayed for Syria and the people suffering an apparently endless war, and he called for a swift end to the carnage. Pope Francis also mentioned the conflicts in the Korean Peninsula, Sudan, Yemen, and the entire Middle East. He prayed for the children of these nations and prayed for an end to conflict, for dialogue and mutual respect. Lenten season is a time to reflect on the passion of Jesus Christ when Catholics around the world commemorate his death and resurrection. But in this day and age, have Catholic traditions during Holy Week also changed? Joining us in the studio, Father Aris Sison, rector of the Immaculate Conception Cathedral in Cubao. Good evening, Father. We're so happy you could join us.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure, Father. First of all, let's talk about the main message this Easter. It's Christ's resurrection. And I was reading an interesting article you shared today by the CBCP. It's talking about how do we come to believe that Jesus rose from the dead. Now, your thoughts on this and why this message still?
First of all, allow me to say that Lent, the 40 days, is a preparation for Easter. It's not an end in itself. Lent does not peak with Good Friday. Although the death of Jesus is very important, the main event is the resurrection of Jesus. So, if Jesus did not rise from the dead, everything is useless. Easter gives us a message of everlasting hope. Easter should be actually a bigger feast than Christmas. Because Christmas gives us the joy of a child born in the manger. The Savior is born. But the symbol of Easter is the empty tomb, the rising of Jesus from the dead. So, Easter should be celebrated with joy, with hope. And this is something we should always look back to. It is a feast that should inspire us to live each day with joy and with hope.
Father, I also want to get your thoughts on how we celebrate Lent these days. Many people choose to go on a vacation, although the message is still, it is a time to reflect and remember the penance of Christ and the suffering of Christ.
It seems many people are really tired, and many people are looking forward to a break. Of course, as a priest, I will still say, during Holy Week, you should stay at home, you should attend services in church. If there's nothing else I can do, if you're really bent on going to the beach, to the resort, then I would always say, find a way, wherever you are. Find a way to make those days holy. Find a way to pray, find a way to reflect. And it's interesting that technology can help us here. Like, everybody seems to have a gadget. So, I consider technology as a gift from God. Pope Francis recognizes that this is where the people are. And that is the reason why I think Pope Francis has been the most visible Pope. Every day, his masses, his homilies are on Facebook, on the internet. He tweets. No? So because of what the Holy Father does, all the other bishops, all the other dioceses, it seems there are many parishes now who stream their services online. So the Church has been very active in using the modern means of technology to reach out to the people.
Let's talk about the message of Pope Francis. Among his messages, he challenged us to overcome our fears and to share in Jesus' mission and message. Your thoughts on this, Father, and if you could share with us your own message this Easter.
Pope Francis is aware that fear is one of the forces that seems to be affecting so many people nowadays. People are afraid of so many things. The rising of Jesus from the dead gives us hope. This is a beautiful and powerful image that Jesus has power over death. If God can raise His Son from the dead, God can also raise us from all the problems and crises that we have.
Okay, Father Aristides, it's been a pleasure having you with us. Thank you for coming to the studio.
Thank you.
Easter in the Philippines is a significant holiday celebrating the resurrection of Christ. Our Rex Ramito tells us Filipino families are excited about the event as the celebration comes with fervent prayer.
Celebrating Easter Sunday comes with families and friends spending time together. They attend Mass in popular churches like the Antipolo Cathedral in Rizal, where worshippers gather in a packed church just to receive God's blessing. After the Mass, they take photos or selfies, and others go to the nearest mall. Meet Jonas Abellano and Maricar Santos and their son John Mark. They traveled on a motorcycle all the way from Taguig City. For them, Easter Sunday gives them time to bond. In fact, they're bringing John Mark to a zoo in Tanay, Rizal.
Para makabawi sa kanya. Ano kasi, minsan wala kami. Minsan busy kasi. Tapos yung asawa ko, nagtatrabaho, panggabi siya.
But more than having fun together, they're hoping for answered prayers.
Maging malakas sana yung pamilya namin, tapos strong na, laging safe sa pagdadrive.
Maayos yung pamilya namin. Lahat ng pagsubok, malagpasan namin na magkasama.
92-year-old Luz Onyas and her 56-year-old son Reynaldo meanwhile haven't heard the Mass for some time. But this Easter Sunday is special.
Kasi hindi siya every Sunday nakakaano dahil mahina na nga siya. So, dahil Easter ngayon, gusto niya umaga. Dahil sa pagkabuhay ni Kristo.
And both have the same wish.
Kaya papasalamat ako sa Panginoon. Bigyan pa ng konting lakas. Habang buhay sa malusog na katawan.
Easter Sunday is for lovers too. New couple Justine Esbieto and Ann Dizon are devotees of Our Lady of Peace and Good Voyage. They're asking her to help strengthen their bond toward what they call forever.
Then sa family din po nila, papasalamat ako sa pagtanggap, sa pagtitiwala nila sa akin.
Siyempre gusto ko siya na. Kasi, matagal din po ako walang relationship. So, parang tingin ko ito na yung time, right time, para dun sa guy na makakasama ko forever.
And even if they all believe the future is uncertain, their hopes live through the resurrection of Jesus Christ.
Catholics atone for their sins during Holy Week by visiting churches or doing charitable acts. But for some devotees, the best way to experience Christ's suffering is through crucifixion. Our Rex Ramito tells us more.
It's the day 61-year-old Wilfredo Salvador has been waiting for. After preparing for almost a year, he takes on the role of Jesus in a cenaculo or passion play showing the suffering of Christ. They're staged the streets of Barangay San Juan in San Fernando, Pampanga. It begins with him kneeling down in prayer until men playing as Roman soldiers capture him and tie his hands with a rope. As people mock him, the soldiers drag him while being whipped. And even as he falls down, he stands up to walk again. His mother Mary and the women of Jerusalem try to save him. But Pontius Pilate sentences him to death, and they force him to carry a heavy wooden cross. For the cenaculo, penitents join Salvador in hitting themselves with a wooden rod after slashing their backs with a blade.
Never seen anything like that before, and we just wanted to see what the hype was about.
I'm so nervous. Grabe, ang sakit sa puso. Nanginginig yung buong laman ko. Natatakot, halo-halo. Alam mo yung nanginginig yung tuhod ko dahil sa ginawa nila.
I don't believe in religion. I think religion is crime.
If spectators wave palm branches in the past, now they raise their smartphones to take photos. They document the suffering of Christ through Salvador, who walks for 3 kilometers for 3 hours until he finally reaches the cavalry, where the soldiers nail him to the cross. And for the 13th year, Salvador is crucified. He believes this is his way of being closest to God. He says God healed him from a mental illness.
Magaan na po yung katawan ko, makakatulog na po ng maayos. Wala na po, ito po, buhay. Hardcore pa rin.
Just like Salvador, 58-year-old Ruben Enaje also believes his penance results in miracles. This is his 32nd year of being crucified, but he plans to retire in 2 years.
Yung pananakit sa ating katawan, may magandang kaakibat naman yun.
Both believe devotion without pain is no penance at all. Rex Remitio, CNN Philippines, San Fernando, Pampanga.
Sometimes it takes a miracle to make people believe. That's the story of the Gipal family of Calamba, Laguna. They've been devotees of Our Lady of Peace and Good Voyage in Antipolo City for 3 decades now. Our George Cahiles takes us to the Antipolo Cathedral, where over 4 million pilgrims visit the image of the Virgin Mary, believed to be miraculous.
For the Gipal couple, they owe the life of their 30-year-old son John Michael to the Nuestra Señora de la Paz y Buen Viaje, patroness of Antipolo City. John Michael was born with hydrocephalus, but is now in normal condition. His father, Dominador, becomes emotional remembering how he desperately sought help from the Virgin Mary to save his son's life.
So siya, naghihingalo na rin. So ang ginawa ko, dahil sa gusto ko talaga siya mabuhay, yung nga may birin doon sa hospital, na natapatan ko, Panginoon, ganun eh. Nag-ano na ako na pag-inom, buhay mo lang yung anak ko.
Since then, Dominador and his family, who are from Calamba, Laguna, join other pilgrims to pay homage to the miraculous image every Holy Week.
Hiniling ko sa Diyos na mabuhay lang siya, gampanan ko yung araw-araw, taon-taon kong pagpunta rito. So yun ang, kahit wala kaming pamasahe, mangutang para magarating.
Papasalamat po sa Diyos po. Nabuhay po ako.
Millions of barefoot devotees endure some 15 kilometers of an uphill climb to Antipolo Cathedral every Monday, Thursday until Good Friday. This year, the local government says around 4 million people joined the walking pilgrimage. The church says it may be popular religiosity, stories of miracles and good fortune that bring people to the Cathedral of Our Lady of Peace and Good Voyage. But Father N.E.W.S says the popular becomes personal as faith grows deeper while performing the annual penance.
It will not simply be a parabang habitual coming to Antipolo just to enjoy the sights or the festive mood, but it will become a lived faith wherein you're coming here, you're going to Mass here in the cathedral is really part of your relationship with God.
The Gipal family will forever be grateful to the Virgin Mary. They will continue to be devotees of Our Lady of Peace and Good Voyage and promise to pass a tradition to the next generations of the family. George Cahiles, CNN Philippines.
Eastwood City celebrates Easter Sunday with a colorful Easter egg hunt for the whole family. Dubbed as the Easter Wonderland celebration, it features different worlds like Disney Junior, Barbie, Hot Wheels, and DC superhero girls, where participants hunt for colorful Easter eggs. There were also kiddie games and a magic show to entertain the crowd.
How's your day? Good. Do you enjoy painting eggs?
Yes.
Do you love it?
Yes.
What do you want to do next?
Paint our face. Good.
Good.
Are you happy?
Ano nagawa mo na dito? What do you do?
What did you enjoy the most? What did you enjoy the most? The inflatable.
Selfless service. This was the message of Manila Archbishop Luis Antonio Cardinal Tagle this Holy Week, emulating what Jesus did when he washed the feet of his apostles. Zian Arcangel reports.
Rolling up his sleeves, Manila Archbishop Luis Antonio Cardinal Tagle bowed before Father Chito Soganog, the priest who was kidnapped by the Maute group in Marawi City last year, and washed his foot. After patting the foot dry with a towel, Tagle bowed even lower to kiss it. The gesture moved Soganov so deeply that he cried after the Archbishop left. Each year, priests all over the world wash the feet of select individuals during the evening Mass of the Lord's Supper to commemorate Jesus' act of humility for his disciples before he died. This Holy Thursday, Tagle chose representatives of migrant workers, refugees, and displaced persons to heed Pope Francis' call to embrace those who are being persecuted. Aside from Soganov, Tagle also washed the feet of the parents of Joanna Demafilis, the maid whose body was found inside a freezer in Kuwait. In his homily, Tagle urges the faithful to follow Jesus' example of selfless service. However, he says people should serve not to impress others or stay in power, but as a gesture of love.
Ang mundo natin ngayon, sanay na sanay sa ganun eh. Mukhang umaalis sa matayog na posisyon. Pero sa bandang huli, kapit, tukok, ayaw lumisan. Hindi ganyan si Jesus.
In a country where over 10 million Filipinos work abroad, Tagle says it's important to make migrants and other displaced people feel that they are not alone.
Sa kanilang paglisan, sana hindi sila mag-isa. Samahan sila sa paglalakbay.
Cian Arcangel, CNN Philippines.
Victims of the drug war are remembered in a different kind of pabasa. Rather than chanting the life, passion, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, the UP Repertory Company is celebrating Holy Week with a 3-day non-stop performance commemorating those who died in the Duterte administration's war on drugs. They recited poems to remind people of the brutal war which left some of its victims dumped in unmarked graves.
Patay si Ricardo Sidlao Jr., lalaki, walang edad, walang trabaho, sa isang bypass operation na ikinasa ng pulisya sa walang espesipikong lugar sa syudad ng Quezon. Walang eksaktong oras, ika-28 ng Oktubre 2016.
The students believe drug addicts should not be killed and the government must give them a chance. A mass was also offered for those killed in anti-drug operations.
Halaw siya dun sa mismong kultura ng pabasa sa pasyon ng mga Katoliko na yung mismong teksto ng original text ng pabasa ay kinuha namin. Tapos nag-gather kami ng mga documents, articles, mga narrative accounts na inayos ng mga dramaturgs, yung pool ko, about extrajudicial killings or war on drugs ni President Duterte.
Displaced residents of Marawi decry being deprived of their right to go home 5 months after the war ended. The group Tindigra now says it's high time for residents of 24 barangays in Ground Zero to see their homes, salvage what was left of their belongings, and rebuild. Hundreds staged a protest yesterday and called for a people-oriented rehabilitation of war-torn Marawi. They say they were being left out in the government's plans to rebuild their city. More than 300,000 residents were displaced by the war last year. The military says Ground Zero needed to be cleared of explosives before residents could be let in. Residents were angry over reports that President Rodrigo Duterte would convert their communities into a military camp, a tourism hub, and commercial center instead of rebuilding their houses. Netizens call out devotees and tourists for leaving behind piles of trash in observance of the Holy Week. This photo was captured by Isaiah Christian Reyes at the Grotto of Our Lady of Lourdes in San Jose del Monte, Bulacan. He captioned it, quote, "Ang hirap maging disiplinadong Pilipino." More than 17,000 people have so far reacted to the post, criticizing their lack of responsibility and concern for the environment. Another on Facebook, Ronks Ronquillo, posted this photo of a road full of trash outside the SM City East Ortigas, where a procession took place. He used the hashtags hypocrisy, alay lakad, not Good Friday. Authorities seized 2.5 million pesos worth of illegal drugs in Novaliches, Quezon City. Our Makoy Popioko joins us live from the PIDEA headquarters for the details. Makoy, tell us about this buy-bust operation.
The suspects Mongkao Sabino and Saimami Pandong were arrested In a bypass operation at a mall parking in Novaliches, Quezon City, authorities confiscated 500 grams of suspected shabu worth 2.5 million pesos. Authorities say the suspects were supposed to deliver the illegal drugs to Mindanao. The suspects, who claim they are from Marawi City, are supposed to travel by land to deliver the illegal drugs. Authorities are still investigating if they are part of a bigger syndicate. The suspects are facing jail time for the possession and trade of illegal drugs. Mai.
Makoy Popioko there reporting to us live from the PIDEA headquarters. Filipinos visited several churches on Holy Thursday and Good Friday for the traditional Visita Iglesia, a practice shared by devout Catholics from other parts of the world. Cecil Ardizabal tells us more.
The Catholic faithful commemorate the institution of the Holy Eucharist in churches every Holy Thursday. It is also during this time that Catholics visit at least 7 churches to carry out the tradition of Visita Iglesia. Some pray the Stations of the Cross or have moments of silent contemplation at the altar of repose. Even foreigners who are here on vacation take part in the tradition. Just like this couple from Brazil. Brazil has one of the largest Catholic populations in the world, very much like the Philippines. Since this couple are Catholics and very religious, they opted to spend the Lenten season in the country.
I visited auditor church in the Philippines because I am very religious too. But I agree with the Philippines people in the God.
They tell CNN Philippines of how impressed they are with how Filipinos have preserved their rich religious traditions and culture.
I visited the church and I love these people because I love religious people.
They consider their visit a unique experience. This is also the time of the year that tourists abound in the country, boasting of architectural designs and the historical significance that go with it. Churches and other religious heritage sites are popular destinations and have always been part of memorable and meaningful trips. Cecil Ardizabal, CNN Philippines.
Every Holy Week, the posh Bonifacio High Street is filled not with shoppers but Catholic devotees. The group Church Simplified put up an interactive Stations of the Cross. Our senior correspondent Ruth Cabal features the exhibit.
It's the 3rd year that Arnold and Melissa Ang pray the Stations of the Cross here at the Bonifacio High Street as part of their Holy Week tradition. They say they always make sure they take their children with them.
It's a good reminder kasi we don't want parang our kids to grow up thinking that Easter is about yung Easter eggs. Yeah. So we want them to make sure they remember that Jesus sacrificed for us, and yun yung what really matters.
Reminding you of God's love, of how, He suffered for all of us and paid for our sins. And with each act, you try to translate that love to loving others also.
On its 10th year, the group Church Simplified staged Walkway, reflections on the Stations of the Cross, with the theme, The Cross and the Table, to symbolize Jesus' sufferings and His acceptance and love for everyone, including His enemies. The walkway features interactive art installations depicting 14 stations of the cross, Jesus' last moments, from His condemnation to His death. With simple activities, devotees can live out Jesus' sufferings. One can experience carrying a cross, nailing a piece of paper on the cross with your name on it as an act of surrender, sitting on a big table and be with perceived misfits of society, writing prayers for oneself, loved ones, and even enemies.
So we felt that this year, the world seems pretty divided, hostile, like social media has caused us to not talk well to each other, and the lack of kindness and the lack of in our words, and so we thought that the cross, reflecting on what Jesus did, could really maybe bring us back together.
The installations were set up by creative director Luis Tabuena, production designer Freddy Gonzalez, and lead writer Isa Gonzalez. The walkway will be on display until April 1, Easter Sunday. Ruth Cabal, CNN Philippines.
hundreds of local and foreign tourists participate in the Santo Entierro or Holy Burial Procession on Bantayan Island. The island on the northern end of Cebu is famous for the procession on Good Friday, where the Stations of the Cross are portrayed in life-sized figures mounted on carriages. Some of the old images are believed to have been brought by Spanish priests in the 1840s.
So that you can take footages of that. Dahil humihingi kami ng tulong na maipaabot sa ating mga kababayan na yung danger ng unexploded ordnance is real, no? Hindi po namin inimbento 'yon. Totoong may danger pa rin. Kasi sabi nila, maraming nagsasabi na imbento lang 'yan ng military para hindi kami papasukin. So hindi po natin gawa-gawa 'yon, no? Okay, next. What are we going to ask from you, no, members of the media? Okay. So the second bullet, no, media coverages should not impinge on the privacy of the IDP family. Kasi po may mga nagsabi sa amin na ayaw po sana na ipa-cover yung kanilang pagpasok, no. But we are going inside. Not everybody has the same opinion. So yung iba naman ay okay lang sa kanila na ma-interview sila. So our request from you is, please, before you interview or shoot a family, no, please ask permission from them, no, para yung privacy issue ay ma-address natin. No, pag pumayag naman sila, walang problema. No, you can interview them, you can cover their actual visit into their houses. We will only be limited to Sector 1. Yun nga po, yung barangay Tolali. Meron tayo mga nakaposte na mga sundalo at police around the boundaries of the Sector 1 so that yung mga ibang residente, pati yung mga bisita ay hindi lalampas, no? Because some of the residents are apprehensive, lalo yung mga taga Sector 2, taga Sector 3, 5, baka pasukin yung mga bahay namin at kunin, maunahan kami. So we assure them na we will be limited only to Sector 1. Please report to us if you see any firearms, any illegal drugs, or even unexploded ordnance, IEDs, or skeletal remains, no? We are expecting na maraming makikita ngayon. Kasi, siyempre, hindi po natin makikita lahat. Yung mga EOD teams natin, kahit na nag-sweep tayo, yung sweeping operations na ginawa ng EOD teams natin 3 times, no? Isang team nag-sweep dun sa area, and then another team would sweep the same area, and then a third team would do the final sweeping, no? May mga naiiwan pa rin, I'm sure marami pa rin makikita. And please, kung may mga instructions, please cooperate with the authorities. Next. Sige, next. Oh, by the way, registration. Meron po tayong registration dyan. Please register. We will be submitting the same list to our checkpoints because kung sino lang po yung mga nandun, no, sila lang po yung mga kapasok for today. So we are expecting that more media personalities and outlets will be arriving tomorrow. Mag-register lang, and then we will submit this also to the checkpoints. Kasi we are preventing non-media entities to be able to enter the most affected area. Kasi nga po, yung iba, may mga sariling interest sila eh. May mga interest sila, may mga gusto silang anggulo that will serve their interest only. So ayaw natin yung mga ganon, no? Next. Safety reminder. So if you have protective gear, please wear them. Helmets, vests, no? Hard sole shoes, masks, no? Kung ayaw nyo makilala, magmaskara na lang kayo. Long jeans and for protection against sharp metal sheets. Marami kasi mga yero, mga metal pipes na nakaprotrude, no? And finally, carpooling is advised. So, as much as possible, we go inside with a small footprint, no? Konting sasakyan lang para madali tayo mag-navigate sa loob. Once we enter, we're going to park our vehicles and then we will allow you to move inside. No? Hindi na namin kayo i-guide pa doon o i-control. You may go within the boundaries of Sector 1. No? Reminder, 3 p.m. we have to be out of the area. Before 3 p.m. Next. All right. So that ends the presentation. Do you have any questions bago tayo pumasok? Yes, ma'am. Sige po, gagawin natin on a daily basis. Yung dito rin, dito pa rin. So again, we will be using this venue courtesy of the provincial government for the media briefings, the press conferences. By the way, there will be a press conference on Tuesday, no? April 3, Tuesday. That will be the last day of the Kambisita for Sector 1. No? So that kung meron po kayong mga katanungan, yung mga makukunan nyo ngayon, mga observations ninyo, day 1, day 2, on day 3, makukuha po natin yung kasagutan from representatives of Task Force Bangon Marawi, the provincial government, the city government, and the military and police, no? Security sector. It will be at 11 a.m. on Tuesday. No? Yes, ma'am. Okay, so according to our EOD teams, explosive ordnance disposal teams, no, they can only be 80% to 90% sure that the area is clear. The reason is because yung ibang bomba po ay pumasok sa lupa. The others have been embedded in the buildings and then nag-collapse na yung mga structures. So there is no way for the EOD teams to lift the debris or the slabs of cement so that they could go inside and search. No? So I'm sure that itong panahon na ito, from today until the end of Kambisita, we will be expecting to see more unexploded ordnance, IEDs, skeletal remains, firearms, ammunition. So kayo rin, kung meron po kayong makita, please report it to us so that we could react appropriately. Okay, thank you. So the unexploded ordnance ranges from yung ating M203 cartridge, no? Yung maliit po na rifle grenade to as big as the 500 pounders na binagsak po ng mga aircraft natin, yung FA-50 jet fighters natin na hindi sumabog, no? So this morning, yung nakita po, at first they thought it was a 105 millimeter howitzer round. And when Asek Castro called me this morning, ngayon lang, sabi nila 60 millimeter mortar round pala yung nakita na yun. No? 60 millimeter. So at least mas maliit. So may mga EOD teams na tayo doon, but they will wait for us so that we could film that. And then we proceed inside. No? Okay rin na medyo maliit tayo ng konti kasi talagang grabing traffic na yun. Papasok. At least when we go inside, medyo mas clear na. No? Any more questions? Wala na pong vehicle from the military kasi naka-deploy lahat. So yes, yung sasakyan ninyo, but if you can pull together, yung iba po na pwedeng makisakay dun sa iba, we would appreciate that. No? George? George? Alphabetical. Okay. Yes. Oo. So, every day, 6 a.m. yan. Oo. But since today is the first day, medyo, sige, pinabayaan muna natin silang pumasok. And tomorrow, if you want to cover the early arrival, you can arrive earlier. No? Yung mga nag-register na, sige, wag na kayong mag-register bukas so that pwede na kayong tumuloy doon. Yung mga bago na lang ang mag-register muna dito. No? George. Okay, so last Friday, no, Good Friday, there was a rally that was conducted here in Marawi City. It was supposed to be a peaceful rally, pero medyo nagkaroon lang ng konting girian when the rallies attempted to go inside the main battle area or the most affected area. However, after the negotiations, the organizers of the rally agreed to have their rally just before the bridge, before the pumping bridge, no, near the city hall. So dun, beside the city hall. So doon na lang po sila nag-rally, and it was generally a peaceful rally. And the IDPs, no, internally displaced persons, were able to air their sentiments. Maganda naman yung nangyari, no? Nandun rin ako, and I was able to explain some of the, for example, the mechanics of the kambisita, yung schedule, na-explain natin dun sa mga rallyista. So at least naliwanagan rin yung iba. Akala kasi nung iba, they were misled na hindi na sila makakapasok, no? So with this program, itong kambisita, makakabalik sila para makita nila yung mga bahay nila, makukuha nila yung mga gamit nila bago po pumasok yung mga developers, no? Mga developers. So anyway, tuloy-tuloy naman yung ating dialogue with the IDPs, with the residents of the most affected area, para maliwanagan sila kung ano yung mga plano na gagawin dun sa kanilang mga lugar. Media. Well, okay. Meron pong report na allegedly meron na bar, no, na media, member ng media, from covering the rally. However, wala pong pinangalan na sundalo or officer. Nakalagay lang dun sa report is that unidentified Army officer, no, of 103rd Brigade. So we are requesting po yung media personality na lumabas para from covering public events such as rallies, no. Hindi po namin pinipigilan ang media na i-cover ito. May mga information po tayo natanggap, and meron tayong actual na harang dun sa mga checkpoints na mga grupo na gustong makisawsaw dito sa issue ng mga IDPs, no? Kaya nanawagan kami sa mga organizers ng rally na kung pwede ay huwag nilang payagan yung mga ibang grupo na sumali at manggulo, no? Kasi yung pong mga naharang dun sa mga checkpoints, hindi taga rito sa Marawi, no? Hindi rin mga Maranao, no? So anong purpose nila dito? The rally was for the IDPs, internally displaced persons of Marawi City, to air their grievances, no? So yun po yung report na nakuha natin, no? But again, it is not the policy of the armed forces to prevent members of the media from covering itong mga public events. naintindihan naman po namin yun, yung support, no? Yung support na gusto nilang ipakita. Pero sana po, yung mga ibang grupo, kasi may mga talagang intelligence information kami na nakuha na talagang may mga grupo na gustong manggulo. No? Wala pa kaming information kung may susunod na rally. Oo. Si Safi, alam ni Safi kung meron. Okay, any more questions? Okay, so since the liberation, we have recovered 8 skeletal remains. No? And then the identity cannot be determined, no? But yung mga suot nilang damit, more or less will give us a clue as to who they are. Mostly, nakaitim po, may itim, no? Nakasuot ng itim yung mga skeletal remains na nakuha natin. So, kung wala na po kayong tanong, thank you. We'll see you tomorrow kasi April Fool's Day ngayon. No? Okay, so please, let's organize. Dito na lang po sa harap, no? We will have a lead vehicle na military. We will have a lead vehicle na military. Dito na lang tayo maglinya sa harap. And then, unang puntahan natin yung unexploded ordnance sa Upper Lilod Saduk. No? Upper Lilod Saduk. And then we will proceed inside the main battle area.